Well, all right, guys, welcome to the live stream. I think everything's going. YouTube still isn't showing me the preview, so I'm guessing that everything's live. Let me know in the chat if there's any problems with the screen or anything like that. We're still kind of getting used to YouTube's new setup. So today's going to be pretty fun. We're going to be doing a looks like people are seeing me because they're starting to chat. So today we're going to be casting a pumpkin, basically. So let me switch cameras so I can kind of explain what's going on. I'm pretty excited about this. So we were walking through the grocery store the other day, and you know, I'm sure a lot of people have seen these little candy pumpkin bucket things. They got them all over the place, and I saw this thing, and I'm like, I want to put some resin in there, and I want to do basically, you know, like create a pumpkin and then carve it type thing. So we're going to actually make a pumpkin, carve it, and then it'll be kind of cool. You can put a candle in there, and it'll be like, you know, a real pumpkin kind of thing. That's what I have in my head. I think it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be a large pour. That's one thing. So that should be pretty fun. It'll probably be pretty quick today. I don't think it's going to take that long, but it should be pretty fun to try this out and see how it works. I don't know. Let's just say we got a 50-50 shot at making this thing actually cool. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing good today. I hope you guys are excited about the project. So what I have in mind, we don't need to fill this entire pumpkin, and I don't really want to sit there and hollow out the whole inside. So what I came up with is we're going to put another jar. This is an HDPE little kind of jar thing that we got, and we're going to put that in the center of it. So that should take up a lot of space. And hopefully, you know, one, we're going to save some resin, and then two, it'll also like speed up the actual process of kind of carving out the inside. Frankly, I don't know how much carving I really need to do. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. I don't think you need to really hollow out a whole lot of it necessarily. And then I think the biggest carving part of this project, so what I have envisioned in my head, and like I said, sometimes what I think is going to happen is not how it works out. But what I'm thinking is after it's cast, we're going to have kind of a void in the center where this bucket is going to be. And what I'm going to do is just like mount a glue block to the bottom, and then, we'll put it on the lathe. And what I'm going to do is kind of hollow out the inside. And then once I have that fairly hollowed, I don't think I'm going to put a lot of time into hollowing. I'm just going to try and kind of, hollow out a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is we should have these little indentations where the eyes are. Then I'm going to grab one of those, I forget what they're called, but basically like a little carving tool thing. And we'll kind of carve out and do the carving of our pumpkin kind of thing. So it'll have the actual holes where the mouth are and the eyes and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I have, I don't know, in my head. I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's going to be fun. We needed to kind of get this thing going a little bit early this year, though, I guess a little bit earlier than Halloween, because we need to actually have the thing ready so that I can kind of get on it and work on it before Halloween. So I know that we're a little early for Halloween, but hey, should be kind of fun. So let me scroll through, see what's going on. Pumpkins, yeah, should be pretty fun, I think. I don't know. We don't usually carve pumpkins anyway, because like nobody comes to our house we live kind of out in the country, and so there's like no trick-or-treaters where we go, so we don't really do a whole lot. So this should be kind of fun, and you can put it up as a decoration every year kind of thing. As long as nobody like takes it off your porch and throws it in the street, that would kind of suck. But all right, Jen's here. How's it going? Nice. You hear me? It's a good thing you guys hear me, because I didn't really double check that, and I just did a long spiel about this pumpkin project. I wouldn't want to have to repeat it all. So anyway, let's see here. Looks like everybody's here and chatting it up, having fun. Welcome everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. I know I am. Let's see here. It's Halloween all month. That's right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know what I was a little bummed about? I bought another one of my Dunkin' Junk shirts, and it almost looks orange, but it's red. It really is red. I should have bought the orange one. That would have been a perfect one for this stream. I might have to go and buy another one. So, by the way, these are available on my, you can get there right underneath I think you guys can see it. Can you see it from, I've never really looked at this. Can you see the actual listings underneath my channel there? On the live stream, I guess on the live streams? Somewhere down there you should be able to see it, I think. I'm looking on my phone here. But I do have a Teespring shop, and on most of my videos, you can see Oh, how do I mute? Oops, that's not what I want. Hold on, guys. Hold on. What did I just do? I don't know what's happening. I'm going to skip the trial things anyway. Sorry, guys. I got to get this thing figured out. There we go. Mute. I don't usually do the, you can't really see it necessarily. Well, on normal videos, if you go to any of my normal videos, there's a Teesprings shop right below the video. So anyway, you can get Dunkin' Junk shirts and socks and all kinds of fun stuff. So let's see here. Yeah, you could do, like a solar light. That'd be kind of cool. All right. National Taco Day. Sweet. I like Taco Day. Okay, so let's get going here. I'm going to get this camera kind of set up a little bit. I'll kind of show you what I got going on. So this is going to take 165 ounces of resin. I think this is going to be the biggest pour that I've ever done. And we're not even filling that entire pumpkin. That's the crazy thing. It would have been over 200. So what I'm going to do real quick is switch to the other screen, the desktop screen, so you can see. So where we're at right here, we're at alumalite.com / I don't know, whatever, volume calculator on Alumalite's website. And so if you see here, if you can see my cursor right in the middle, this part volume, I'm going to kind of highlight that. This is how I came up with the numbers on this. So hopefully everything will work out. So this pumpkin is about 8 inches in diameter. It's kind of spherical, but I'm just going to kind of consider it a cylinder. And so the diameter is 8 inches and the height is about 8 inches as well. So I've entered 8 in each one of those. I hit calculate. And then down here, 223 fluid ounces is what it says that we would need to create, fill up the pumpkin basically. And then what I did was the other thing, this thing is about 5 inches by 5.5, so 5-inch diameter. I'm going to switch back real quick. So I went back in here, I went 5.5, and then I hit calculate, and it said it's about 60 fluid ounces. So I just subtracted that from the 223, and what we're going to go with is around 160 ounces. I just kind of estimated. The pumpkin is not exactly cylindrical. Oops. So I think that will do. It may not be that full, if this was like a total cylinder, it would have a little bit of resin extra. So I think 160 fluid ounces is good. I got my big scale here and we got a big bucket. Now what I'm going to do to fill this, I'm going to do this in 2 pours basically. This thing only goes up to, like the 4 quarts is up to here. And that's 1 gallon and we're going to put more than that in. So what I'm going to do is we're going to split it in half. I'm going to mix up half of what we need, dump it in, mix up the other half, dump it in, and then we're going to push down our little thingy to take up space in the middle. Now, before we get going, one thing that I'm going to do to get this to kind of stay put, I don't really care so much if it's like dead center. It doesn't really matter because we're not going to use this to hold, work or anything like that. What I'm going to do is we're just going to drill some holes in this. And basically, this is just all thread, whatever you have on hand. This is just something I had. So I got some 1/4 inch all thread. And I'm basically just going to kind of lay this, drill holes in this, and then it'll kind of just hold the cup, at this level. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and go find some rocks to put in here or something to weigh this down. And then these will keep it from going all the way down in. So hopefully I explained that somewhat well enough for you guys to understand what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this camera in here so you can see. So I've already drilled out. I wanted to kind of test this and just see. So I already got some holes in this. I'm just going to kind of try and get it at this, like right above this little blue line. And then it'll kind of sit right like that. So I got 1 set of holes in there. What I got here is a brad point bit. It just makes it easier. It would just kind of walk otherwise. So we're going to kind of go like, let's see, I'm going to put this, let me get the camera in a position that you guys can kind of see. So I'm trying to kind of line these holes up and see where those go. So I think I'm going to put it right here. And kind of looking through here. And we'll put a hole right here. And we got our holes. So that's pretty simple. I'm going to probably put these things in after I put it in. But, you know, after I put this thing in here, I'm going to kind of fit it through. I do kind of want to keep this handle on the pumpkin. And if we put these things in here, it would kind of negate the handle, you know. So I'm going to get them started. I'm going to push them through one side. That was kind of loud. Sorry about that. Just kind of do that. So it's ready to go. I can just, let me get the camera. I need a camera crew. We really need a camera crew. So what I've done is just kind of put them in, you know, a little bit through there. So when we get ready, we can put this thing in here and then kind of push them in a little bit further, and then it won't move. I think it'll be best to, let's see. I think I can actually push this all the way through. Let me just try this. I want to get it kind of centered. No, it is kind of, yeah, that's not going to work. I don't like that. Sometimes you learn as you go. So I'll just kind of center these things. Otherwise, I don't want these to kind of want to be tipping, you know what I mean? But we're ready to rock and roll here. So what I'm going to do is go get some rocks or something to stick in that cup really quick. You could put like burl or metal or, you know, whatever, as long as it has some weight to it. But I think I got a box of rocks. Pretty sure. Oh yeah, we got a box of rocks. There's a lot of dust in them. I'm going to vacuum this box of rocks out real quick, but I got some pretty big rocks here. We're just going to drop some rocks in there. All right. So just put a couple of little rocks in there. That ought to weigh it down. Okay, so this side, this part is ready to go. You don't have to worry about that. Now, what I'm going to be doing for the resin, I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe glitter or this, and what I've come to the conclusion of is I think it'll be best to just go with orange pearl. I think it's actually going to look the best. This is kind of, we're going for what I actually want this to look like rather than just kind of try some effects. You could put, you know, maybe some streaks and stuff in, or you could do kind of a multicolor. One of the problems is it's kind of hard to, well, I've found that for me, it's hard to do color swirl on these really large pours. I always get kind of freaked out that it's going to start setting up. So I really haven't practiced much. But I'm really not like really excited to kind of like push the limits of large amounts of resin. Because if it sets up on you, you are totally screwed. And we're talking, this is like hundreds. It's going to be like a gallon of resin. So, I mean, we're talking like $100 almost, probably 90, 80. And that's a lot of money to blow on a pour. You know, if you kind of screw up a few pen blanks, not a big deal, but so I haven't really pushed the limits yet. I don't know exactly how much, you know, working time we have. But what I'm going to use is Alumalite Clear Slow Set. This is meant to be poured in large quantities. I've never found something too big to pour with that resin, so it should work fine. We're going to go with, like I said, orange pearl, and it'll just be pretty much one color. We're going to add a little bit of powder, add some effects, and then pretty much pour it in. There's not a whole lot to this casting. A couple of notes about this pour. One thing that I want to do, so I'm going to use Stoner mold release on this. You might notice that this is going to be impossible to actually get the casting out of. You know, the hole's smaller than the actual casting. So what I'm going to have to do is like cut it off basically. So this is going to be a one-time use mold basically. It's toast after this. And that's fine. The only thing that I don't love about that idea is that I'm going to have to kind of cut on this and kind of pry it off a little bit. The stoner mold release should make it go pretty easy. It shouldn't be that tough. However, I'm probably going to do all the cutting and all that stuff on the back side of this. And I'm going to try and be really careful because I don't want to turn the outside of this. When we get this done, all these little lines and what it looks like on the outside of it I'm leaving it. I don't want it to change. The only thing I'm going to turn is the inside of the actual blank. So I'm going to, like I said, at the end, I'm going to carefully cut this thing off and hopefully it'll kind of pry off and we'll be good to go. I'm going to need to use Stoner mold. For Alumalite, you want to use the Stoner Urethane mold release. You can get this at Turner's Warehouse or from Alumalite. I don't know, a few different other places. I think it's pretty expensive on Amazon, so I actually probably wouldn't recommend that. I think it's cheaper at Turner's Warehouse, but price check, see what's going on. We're going to hit this with Stoner. Now, one other thing that I also want to mention is sometimes some of you guys may notice when you pour resin in like a pipe and then you push things down into it like wood, like if you're doing like a hybrid, casting with a pipe, maybe a sphere blank, sometimes you can get these kind of air pockets on the sides, and I really do not want air pockets because the outside of this blank needs to be pretty pristine. So I'm going to try to take steps to make sure that that's not a problem. I usually don't really care too much on blanks that I'm going to turn the entire outside because it really doesn't matter. You're going to turn into it. But with this one, I want it to be pretty pristine. I want it to not have any weird things going on. So what I'm going to do to combat that is I'm going to pour about half of that, that first batch, half of the resin in. And what I'm going to do is actually kind of swirl it. I'm going to move it around in here and try and get it on the surfaces of this kind of mold thing. First. That's the only thing that I can think of to do. Hopefully that will work. I think it's a good idea to kind of move it around and try and tap it before you even put it under pressure. You have to keep in mind that the pressure pot's not going to remove air pockets. It can only, physically do something to the air bubbles themselves, something that's in a bubble form. So I'm going to take a couple of steps to try and hopefully get this to come out, perfect the way I want it, but I think that's about it. I think we're ready to go here. Are you guys ready to do a little bit of big casting? Because I know I am. Let me stop real quick because I've been talking a lot. Sorry. Will the rods fit in the pressure pot? Yeah, it should be fine. That is a very good question. My pressure pot is pretty big though. Ooh, just barely. But yeah, no big deal. I have a 5-gallon pressure pot. That's what we're going to use. So it's good to go. I could cut these down a little bit further, but I don't really want to mess with it. Good question. Very good. I always recommend that, if you've never cast like a mold or something, if you haven't done something and actually physically put it in the pressure pot, it's good to actually literally do a dry run before you have resin in your mold or whatever it is, and just make sure that everything's going to go smooth. So I didn't even think about those. I actually did that with the pumpkin itself. I actually put it in the pressure pot, but I didn't think about those metal things. So we're good to go. Hey, Brian's here. What's up, man? Let's see here. I usually, let's see. So somebody said, use water and do all that. The problem is I don't want to put water in here because water and resin don't mix. I'm going to have to fully dry it out, and that's just, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of lazy in a sense. I don't want to do that. Really, you should just be able to use those volume measurements. That's pretty much what I do for all of my molds. Worst case scenario, just kind of overshoot it. You might waste a little resin, maybe have a PVC pipe handy, which actually, that reminds me, I'm actually going to get some PVC pipes ready so that if we do have some extra, which I think we will, it'll be good to go. Okay, so let's see here. In my calculator, oh, I lost, what just happened? Yeah, Billy, I subtracted it. I went through the entire calculation showing the 8 by 8, 8-inch diameter by 8 tall. That's the pumpkin. And then I did one that was 5 by 5.5. Subtracted that, and we got about 160 ounces. I usually use grams, but it's kind of actually simpler just to use ounces. Yak's here. What's up, man? I think the pumpkin would even fit in a 2.5 gallon pressure pot. Those metal things would not, though. That's for sure. So I think we're good to go here. Let's see here. Mike McEwen, what's up, man? Cool. All right, so let's get this. I think what I'm going to do here, I think I'm just going to move the camera out a little bit, maybe. I don't know that you really need to see anything super close up, you know. What I'm going to do, let's see here. So I have my drill, and we're going to use this paddle. And I'll try to remember to put a link to where I get these on Amazon. They're great if you're doing large castings. You can just, you know, do it with the paddle thing with power. That's you really don't want to just be stirring this. It works really good. And I got my scale here. I actually had to double check my regular scale that I use for like the smaller blanks. It actually, if I was going to do this all in one shot, it wouldn't actually be able to take all of the weight. So that wouldn't have been good, obviously. So first thing I need to do is spray this with some stoner. Let's do that. I'm going to get some PVC pipes. Let's see. Can you guys see what I'm doing over here? Probably not. That ought to be good. So this will just help it release. I don't think I need to like spray the heck out of this. I just want to get a good coating of it, you know, throughout the pumpkin. I don't know how toxic this stuff is, but I don't really recommend breathing it. So we got a coating of stoner on there. I'm going to get, like I said, a few PVC pipes ready. Let's see. I think I'm just going to get a big PVC pipe ready, like kind of larger. I don't really need pen blanks necessarily for any reason. So I'm just going to get this 2-inch PVC pipe ready to rock. So if we have excess, I'm just going to fill it up. So I'm going to spray that as well. And this is, like I said, it's good to have something just kind of sitting there so that you don't waste resin. Now, you guys sometimes I just waste resin on the stream because I just don't want to mess with it. But if you think ahead, you're not going to waste, you know, resin and money because you weren't ready. So just think a little bit ahead and you'll be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to get some gloves on. The other thing I need to do is I'm not doing the pumps. I'm just going to dump it out of the gallon jugs. Usually I use pumps, but I would be pumping it all day long. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. It's okay. There. Now we're good. We're good to go. Yeah, my camera team sucks. It's a good thing I don't pay them because they weren't worth any money. Okay, so you didn't really miss much. All I was doing was spraying. Let's see here. The only problem with taking the pumps off of those things is they kind of leak all over the place. So I'm going to put some tin foil down, let some kind of drip on that, and I can just toss that in the trash when I'm ready. So again, this is going to take up we're looking at a little over a gallon of resin, even with that thing in the middle. So it's a pretty big casting. I don't know, you know, unless you really want to do a large casting like this, I probably wouldn't recommend it necessarily, you know, unless you really wanted to make this project. This is probably a little bit too big for just playing for most people. I really kind of want to make this decoration, so it's fine for me. But one thing that I was thinking is, you know, there's got to be smaller pumpkins like that, plastic ones, that you can find. I didn't really look around much. I just saw that at the store. But there's probably little kind of smaller ones that are very similar that are made out of plastic that you could do the same exact project with and you wouldn't be wasting or using, let's not say wasting, but, you know, using so much resin for. And you can still get, you know, a really cool project out of it. So just wanted to kind of mention that. You don't necessarily have to go big. on something like this if you can find something that'll work and be kind of similar but smaller, you know. The other thing is, you know, like I said, I think this would actually fit in at least my pressure pots. This is another reason a lot of people kind of wonder why I like CA Technologies, and there's a whole slew of reasons, but they're bigger pots. They're, you know, they're wider diameter than all the other cheap ones, and even actually in even Binks. So that's why I choose those, is they have a lot of, they got a couple of things that I really like about them. All right, so we need, okay, so we need about 160 total ounces to fill that thing, and I'm hoping that that's a good estimate. Hopefully, because I want to get this thing pretty much filled up. What I'm going to do is we're going to go for 2 pours, and I'm going to, you know, mix up half of it and then dump it in and then mix up the other half. So what we're going to be doing is mixing 40 ounces of resin. Sorry, I usually use grams. I got to really think about ounces. So before we start, I want to make sure that this thing's on the right. Yeah, okay, so it's on, oh, ounces. I think pounds will work fine. I think the conversion is okay. Let me think about this. Am I doing this wrong? Hold on, guys. I got to double check something. I think I might be. Let me just double check and make sure I'm doing this right. 160. Oh, I might be overshooting this. No, it's casting resin needed. Hold on, guys. I'm just double checking my math. Yeah, okay. All right, okay, so I was right. So 40 ounces times 2, and then we're going to do that twice. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that I had everything right before we screwed something up. And we're good to go. All right, so part A. We're going to go 40 ounces. That's not right, 40. Maybe it is right. How many pounds is that? That's the problem. Hold on. This thing isn't in just ounces. I gotta think about what I'm doing here. 40. 2.5 pounds. And I've already made the notes. I always tell you guys that we do, that I always keep a notebook. And I recommend that you do too. So 2 pounds, 8 ounces. That's what I'm shooting for here. I might have to fill this back up, shoot. Sneaking up on it. Another good thing about doing like half and half is I'll have a pretty good idea of how much, you know, how full this thing is going to be. Now, I'm going to be pushing something down into it, so it does make things a little bit more difficult. I'll have to kind of keep an eye on that, but I want to try and get it as close to the top as possible, if at all possible. All right, we're at 2 pounds, 7 ounces. We're keeping on sneaking. 2 point. And I think I'm going to have to refill this jug just to make sure that I don't run out. I don't want to run out in the middle. 2.2 pounds, 7.9 ounces. Okay, we should be there now. Close enough. Okay. Yeah. I think I need to fill these jugs before we move on. I think I'll be all right. Just kind of filling up the part A, but I think I'll be all right to just kind of top off the part B jug. But I'm also going to fill up this part A. So just enjoy the view for a minute while I do that. The part B is a little bit thick right now, so it's going to take a little bit of time here. The Alumalite clear part B kind of thickens up quite a bit sometimes in the winter when it cools down. Now, it's not that cold. It's 71 degrees in here, but still much thicker than when it was like 80 degrees in the shop. So if your part B thickens up and it's kind of like it almost like jelly kind of, don't freak out. All you need to do is just warm it up and it'll thin out a little bit. That's one of those things to kind of watch out for with cooler temperatures in casting. Got to kind of keep an eye on that. I'm hoping that we're going to have enough here. These kits, what I'm filling these from, each one of these is a gallon jug, and we only really need a little bit. It's going to be a little more than a gallon. It's about 1.25 gallons or something like that. So we should be good to go. I just don't want to be like, oh shoot, I need to fill up the jug now. That's not cool. So who's excited about Halloween? That's the question here. Anybody looking forward to it? Anybody dressing up this year? You got a cool costume? All right. Got our part A filled up. And our part B. So I think we should be ready to rock and roll now. Let me switch back over to the stream view and see what's going on. You guys are still talking about how to figure it out. Oh no. This is the reason why I don't like using battery operated scales. It just died. Now, if I was in the middle of the part A part, this would really suck. Luckily, I'm not. We just need to add, let me write this down, 2 pounds, 8 ounces of part B. But I really don't recommend buying battery scales because if the battery dies, you're screwed. If it's one of those things that shuts off automatically and you walk away like I just did, you're screwed, So I don't recommend it personally. Now, with Alumalite Clear Slow Set, we have about 12 minutes of working time, something like that. It kind of varies depending on the temperature. So just kind of wanted to let you guys know that. I'm going to go get my Blaze Orange right now. We're going to use Blaze Orange from Caster's Choice. That's a really good, mica powder color. Gotta love that Blaze Orange. Let's see. Do I even have one? I got a giant tub of it. Oh, there we go. I didn't know if I got rid of my small jar. We got our Blaze Orange right here. So here we go, guys. We're going to dump 2 pounds, 8 ounces. There's 1 pound. 2 pounds. 2 pounds 7.3. Oh man, sneaking up. Two pounds 8 ounces. Easy peasy. All right. So this is our first batch. We're going to get this paddle mixer. I'm actually going to turn it on the lower setting at first. I'm going to get you guys in closer here so you can kind of see the fun as it happens. There's not a lot to it. The nice thing is, you know, the mixing thing. Oh, I got it. Don't worry, guys. You guys get so excited in the chat. It makes things really easy. And you want to make sure, I got something floating in there. Let me go get a stick so I can get that floaty out. We don't want floaties. Do not want float. Oh, that was nice. That was a pretty slick snag right there. Okay. But it makes it really easy. You want to make sure you get the sides, you know, real well, the bottom. We're going to speed it up now. All right, I think we're pretty well mixed, but what we need to do now, I want to add our mica powder. So I'm going to do about a quarter teaspoon at a time. Quarter teaspoon honestly might be good enough. I kind of want light to somewhat go through this, so I don't know. We'll have to kind of see. I don't know what the thickness of the pumpkin is actually going to be in the end. But we got a quarter teaspoon of Blaze Orange by Caster's Choice. So let's get this mixing in here. Kind of get that spread around a little bit, and then oh yeah. You know what else I think I'm going to do? We're going to add just a drop of orange dye. This is just Alumalite orange dye. And I want to see what that looks like. Oh yeah. Kind of darkens it up a little bit. All right, so now the question is, how are we going to tell what this is going to look like in the end? And one thing you can do is try to estimate the end thickness and just, you know, take a sample of it basically. So I'm just going to kind of take this out, and I think that that's a little bit, that's not really doing it for me. That's kind of thin and light. Even if we kind of fill it up, it's really not what I want, okay? So I'm going to kind of put this aside. We're going to add some more dye to this, and we're going to add some more powder as well. So I'm going to just kind of squeeze a bit in here. I don't think it's going to get too dark. That was probably like 3 drops, something like that. And then I think I'm going to go for another teaspoon another 1/4 teaspoon, and we're going to just go kind of a thick 1/4 teaspoon. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Now, we don't have time to mess around too long with this. We still got to mix up, you know, the next batch of it. But that's looking a lot more rich and pearly in the bucket, at least. Let's get our little cup and see how that's looking in our estimated thickness. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Where it's still, you can tell there's some pearl in there. It's got some better color. I don't think it's going to be too much thinner than that. So I think we're good to go. We'll say, like, you know, 5 or 6 drops of dye and a 1/2 teaspoon of pearl for the other one. I'm actually going to write that down real quick. 1/2 teaspoon of pearl and about 5 drops of orange dye. Okay, so now we got that figured out. Let's pour some pumpkin juice. We're going to call this stuff pumpkin juice. So, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm probably not even going to pour this whole bucket in first. I want to pour maybe about 1/4, and I want to kind of like move it around on the edges of this pumpkin and just try and get it to kind of, you know, I don't know, flow onto the edges, basically, is what I'm kind of trying to do. So can you guys see? I'm going to kind of switch these guys around here. I'm going to pour. One thing I'm going to do real quick is grab an aluminum foil. And I help myself not have to clean up too much afterwards. Okay, so there we go. And we're going to pour in about 1/4 of it, something like that. And like I said, what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of roll this around in there and just let the resin kind of touch up. You know, if you guys are kind of used to or do, let's see, what am I trying to think, like finishing, you know, if you're going to paint with a brush, you're generally going to kind of hit it with whatever the solvent is for the paint first, and that'll kind of make it want to, you know, make that finish kind of go into the brush a little easier. The brush will pick that stuff up better. So this is kind of in effect what I'm trying to accomplish here. So we've just kind of put a coating of this resin onto the edges. That's all that I was going for with that. And then now we're just going to dump it in there. Yeah. I don't know. I got a good feeling about this, guys. I think our measurements might be... So it's like right around up to about here. We may not need all of it, you know. We can kind of test this and see. But we do want it to kind of fill, you know, significantly. So it's only gone up a little bit. So we're going to really need to fill quite a bit of this still. I'm just going to leave that the way it is right now, for now. And then we're going to go with our resins. We're going to start mixing up the rest. So now I got to kind of move quick. I don't want to be messing around with this. Let's get our scale out. Zero that out. 2 pounds, 8 ounces. There's 1 pound, 2 pounds. Okay, 2 pounds, 8 ounces. I'm going to move this over here. I would recommend that you cover your bottles, especially if you live in an area that's pretty humid. Don't leave them open like I just did. I don't have the caps, so it's kind of not really a good option for me right now, but I definitely recommend, you know, the less air that is, you know, that the resin gets exposed to, the better off you are. So another 2 pounds, 8 ounces of the part B here. .36. There we go. Okay. We got our resin in there. Let's get our mixing apparatus going. And I'm just going to go, we're going to go for our pearls. It's not going to really make much difference. I'm going to get those added now so we can kind of take care of this all at once. And we're going to add 5 drops of this dye or so. There we go. There we go, afterburner. All right. One thing that I probably should have done was maybe hit this with the outside of this thing with some stoner, the mold release. Probably would have been a decent idea. It's okay now at this point. It's HDPE, so it's non-stick. It's not going to be that hard, but it might have been a little easier to get it out of the center. We can always turn it away. I'm not that worried about it really. So I'm going to dump, a little bit in here, and I want to, like I said, I want to get this pretty close to the top. So we're going to have to do a little bit of testing here. Yeah, we're going to need more than that for sure. We got lots of resin left. I actually think this is going to be pretty close. Sorry I can't move the camera, but oh, there we go. I need more. We need more rocks, guys. More rocks. It's a good thing I got more rocks. Perfect. It's literally to the top. Look at that. All right, now I probably need to get a move on here. So this is where things get kind of hairy. The resin's starting to warm up for sure, so I need to get this stuff over there. I added more resin than I needed, which is fine. And I think I should be able to get the rest of that other stuff in there. No problem. This might be kind of messy. I gotta get the bars through. Kind of centered onto this thing. Oh, we're losing some resin. Yeah, next time definitely easier with those bars being smaller. Ooh, almost lost it. But I think we're okay. Oh, I'm getting bubbles and stuff. Okay. That was messy. Definitely messy, guys. It probably would have been better to have like a cradle or something underneath that, but that's okay. Whatever. All right. This thing tightened up. Now, Alumalite Clear Slow Set needs to stay in the pressure pot for 2 to 4 hours, somewhere around there. With this, it's going to be fine in 2 hours. It'll be ready to rock and roll. So we got that one done, and then let's just kind of tilt this camera down. Let me get another pair of gloves on, and I think we should be able to save the rest of our resin here. Let's see. I'm going to hit it with the temperature gauge. That'll kind of give me an idea of how close it is to setting up. Oh yeah, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time over there. Now, the one thing that I kind of wish I would have done is to move it around. We still might have gotten some air bubbles. I don't know. I'm hoping that we didn't, but on the outside at least, on that pumpkin. But what ends up happening is it starts to kind of warm up and thicken, and I start freaking out on these large pores. So I don't have a whole lot of experience with these ones. They are fun, that's for sure. So real quick, I'm just going to switch to this intro view. Sorry I couldn't really interact, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and I can't really talk and focus at the same time. So I need to get my pumps out of the way over here. So we're going to do that real quick. Dang, somehow I got resin on. We should have a bit of time with that second batch. So I'm not that worried. I want to make sure I don't put the wrong pump in the wrong, you don't want to put the A pump in the B jug. That would be terrible. So we'll do that. Got our A, got our B. Okay, so we got our jugs covered up. You got to cover the jugs. And just going to stick our paddle right there. So we're going to kind of move over to this area for a minute. I think I got a pressure pot free over here. So what I'm going to try to do, and we're going to have to kind of see if this works out at all. What I'd like to do is actually mix black and orange with this. So what I'm going to do is, I know that we have, orange, and we have some orange pearl in this bucket. But what I'm going to do is we're going to dump out a little bit into a cup. That's probably good. And I'm just going to load it up with a bunch of black dye. And hopefully we'll get kind of a pearly black in the end. Might be kind of a weird mixture, but... and actually, let me get the casting view camera out here, so you guys can kind of get in a little bit closer. Get into the action here. And switch the views too. All right, so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit, sort of. So I'm just going to dump a ton of black dye in here and see if we can get this to kind of darken up and kind of remain a little bit pearly, but we'll get kind of a different color. It may be kind of a weird thing. Oh, I think that worked okay. Yeah, that's okay. I think that did the trick. Okay, so we got that, and I'm going to just kind of stir this orange up a little bit. I want to see what the temperature is. So a lot of people have like these specific temperatures that they recommend you pour some, certain resins at, and I've found that it really kind of depends on what the temperature is in the shop still. Even using the temperature of the resin, because it kind of can change. And so right now what I've found is, I think about 100 degrees is good to go. I'm good to kind of pour color swirls, and they aren't going to really bleed that much, but you're even better off waiting a little bit longer even than that. What I was finding in the middle of the summer, when it was like 82 degrees in here, let's just say on average, I was finding that I had to wait with Alumalite clear slow set. I had to wait till 120 degrees to get decent color swirl pours. So just wanted to kind of mention that. It's really not the temperature, it's kind of the viscosity and temperature. They kind of go hand in hand. And if the resin is starting out at a lower temperature and it's thicker, then you don't have to go as high for temperature. That's kind of, I guess, what I've been finding anyway. And I think I'm going to make this a little easier on myself and pour this out into a cup, because that'll be a whole lot easier to pour. This is Man, we could make a whole batch of pen blanks with this. Probably. I don't have a mold ready though. Okay, so we're just gonna have to call that good. Put this over here. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying here. How hot is it? It was about 95 right now. To be honest, guys, what I do is I use everything. I want to know what the time is. So the issue with time, that's probably the least accurate way to go because it really depends on when you start the timer. You know, like it's just not cut and dry. It's not, you know, temperature is pretty cut and dry. However, it can kind of fluctuate. Now, if you're in a shop where it never changes, like you're, you know, like an air conditioned or heated, and your temperature in the shop really doesn't change, then you can go by the same temperature like all year round. It's not a big deal. But for me, 3/4 of the year, it is like that. It's about 70 degrees in here. And then for summers, it's just pandemonium. And I find it, you got to adjust a little bit. It's going to change things. And mainly, like I said, it kind of has to do with one, just how long you have in general to work with it. It's going to set up faster. And two, it's also going to change the viscosities of your resins. So, and the viscosity is kind of the thing that keeps that, plus getting closer to the end of the working time is what kind of keeps things you know, separated when you're doing color swirls and stuff like that. All right, so let's, I'm going to dump a little bit down in the bottom there. And then what I'm going to do is there's more resin in these cups than this pipe is going to accept. So we're just going to kind of fill this one up and then we'll see where we're at after that. All right, so I'm just kind of pouring it in there. I'm not particularly amazing at PVC casting, I got to be honest. I probably should have waited a little bit longer. Is that turning totally black? Not really. I'm much better at open, you know, like pen blank casting. Oh, that's looking good. Okay. We got a little bit of mixture there. Just top it off. Okay. So we got one. Let's see here. I think I might have another pipe that we can fill up. Handy. This one is a white pipe, just to let you guys know. So you won't be able to actually see the resin going in there. So we got a 1 1/4 inch. And one thing that you can do with PVC pipes, it'd be nice if I had something longer, but you can just kind of go down in and give it just like a quick, you know, swirl like that without moving the cups around while you're pouring it. Just dump them in one straight thing, and then you can give it a little swirl with something else, and you kind of get the same idea, you know, the same action as if you were moving it around while you were pouring it. I'm just going to pop those guys in the other pressure pot real quick. Toss this right there. And taking it up to 70 psi. That's what I did with the other one as well. And then with these ones, I would probably wait a little bit longer than the 2 hours based on the temperature in the shop and the amount of resin. A lot of times I'll wait like the full 4 hours for something like that amount. And honestly, for pen blank size in the winter, so you know, it's not winter, but I just call it the winter in my shop when it's 70 degrees in here, you know, the rest of the year kind of thing. I usually wait overnight. I just find that they're easier to demold with Alumalite Clear's slow set. specifically. With the regular set for pen blank size and pretty much anything, I mean, you can pull it out of the pressure pot in 1 hour. The problem with regular set is you can only pour so much of it. You know, it'll handle quite a bit. I mean, you can pour, you know, a good 500, 600 grams, no problem. It's when you know, if I were trying to do that pumpkin thing, I guarantee it would overheat. So that's why I don't use the regular set in my shop. I just go for, you know, one type that takes care of pretty much everything that I do in here. I don't go below a pen blank size, so a 3/4 inch PVC pipe that's about 5 inches long. I don't really go too much lower than that. Now, the one exception is for the Geezy molds. I use it for that, but and it'll harden up. The problem is a lot of times you can get some kind of curing issues. And what I find most people are doing with very small amounts, they're usually making clear things, and that's where it really fails. You can get kind of, it's not really like it doesn't cure, it's going to cure with little white streaks in it. And you know, if you're going for a clear casting, it's ruined basically. So for pen blank size, that's usually the smallest I typically recommend going with clear slow set. And then I like to let them sit in those tubes because they just pop out easier if I let them sit overnight. So anyway, so it was pretty fun. I know it was kind of hectic in here. I wasn't really paying attention to the chat, but I wanted to get that project, you know, made. Like I said, we were walking through the supermarket. I saw that pumpkin and I'm like, oh my God, we need to make one of those things on Dunkin' Junk. And so I'm hoping that this turns out okay. Like I said, I get kind of freaked out at the end of these large pours because I'm like, I don't want it to really like set up. And I think what I would have, looking back, I wish I would have kind of taken some time to kind of tip it and move it around a little bit in there and try and make sure that there's no real like air pocket areas on the outsides of that pumpkin mold. But, you know, whatever. I think it's going to be fine. We'll have to just see how it turns out. If it's, you know, if there's areas that didn't turn out well, maybe there's ways that we can kind of fix it. Hopefully the outside looks great. And then again, what I want to do is kind of hollow out the inside, and then I want to carve out the actual, you know, we're going to actually be able to see the indentations of the triangle eyes and the mouth and the nose. And so we'll use one of those kind of, what are they called? I can't think of the, what are those things? A rotary tool type thing. That's what I'm going to use, and we'll just kind of carve it out, you know, with a rotary tool. So it should be pretty fun. So that should probably happen in a couple of weeks. We'll probably put it off a little bit, just make sure the blank's ready to rock. And this will also, doing it this early lets me know, you know, how did it turn out first. And if I have to go and get another pumpkin and try it again, I don't know, it's going to be kind of tough to justify that much resin on, you know, doing it again. But if I have to, you know, I'll be able to get one of those pumpkins to redo it if I got this first one done now. No, it's not a Dremel. It's a rotary tool, I guess is what, I'm trying to think of the name of what it is. I bought one of those things for, it's like the dental style, like the super high ones. I don't know. It should be fun. It doesn't matter what it is. But let's see here. So a couple of things here. We got a video coming up hopefully on Sunday. Really cool project. You guys are going to flip out, I think. A lot of people have asked me about this topic, and I've been kind of keeping it a secret, but we're going to let the cat out of the bag, so it should be pretty fun. So if anybody of you guys know the mesh blanks that I sell, the matrix blanks, we're going to kind of go through the entire thing. I'm going to show you how I make those. Well, not the pen blanks, but just the material that I use for that mesh. So it should be pretty fun, and the project is pretty killer. I'm excited about it. So that's coming up on Sunday. As long as I get all the editing done, which I should, everything should be good, but that should be on Sunday morning. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I got another giveaway going on for the Patreon people, all the patrons. It's money blanks, and I've been meaning to get everything done for this thing, and I keep forgetting to get the video edited and up. So be looking for that if you're a patron. We'll have a video, and there's a couple of winners for that coming up. I'm hoping I can get that done like this weekend and posted over on Patreon. So if you want to help support the show over on Patreon, you can too. So it's patreon.com/nvwoodworks. But like I said, so everybody that's currently a patron, head over to the Patreon page over there and look for the video and see if you guys won. So anyway, I'm excited to share that and get those blanks to people. So I think that's about it tonight. I know it was pretty quick. It was only an hour. That's, whoa, totally crazy. Usually I go for like 2 at least, but I don't have anything else to do really, and I need to get some work done still tonight. So anyway, I'm excited to see how this pumpkin turns out. I will let you guys know as soon as I can get some pictures of it. I'll get them posted on Instagram and Facebook, so make sure you're following me over there so you can see how this thing turns out. Demolding should be interesting, so I don't know. It's going to be kind of fun, I think. So anyway, guys, thank you for coming out, joining the fun. Like I said, sorry it was a little bit kind of hectic and I wasn't really paying attention to you guys, but sometimes with these big ones, I just kind of, my head is in the game kind of thing. And you guys can generally just kind of take care of yourselves in the chat and kind of see what's going on. So hopefully I got good pictures of everything and it was fun for you guys. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great evening tonight. Have a great weekend. Get in the shop and make something cool. And go Dodgers! I know everybody's going to probably hate me for that, but hey, I got to say it because I'm a Dodger fan. So anyway, guys, I will see you next Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled on my YouTube channel this weekend. Sunday, about 8:30 is when I post Pacific time. The mesh blanks video will be going live. So I hope you guys enjoy that. So anyway, have a great night. Thanks for joining the fun, and I will see you on Friday.